Good evening, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well. Good evening, Jai Hind, and welcome to this session. I hope all of you are doing well. Good evening. So, I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good evening. I hope I am properly audible and visible. Good evening. Okay. So, good evening and welcome, everyone. In the last session, we have discussed about some of the key topics, like we have discussed about La Nina. We have discussed that how it is going to impact the pollution related things in India. Then we have also discussed about one more condition, that is APSPA, that what actually is Armed Forces Special Power Act, where it is applicable, what are its fallouts. We have also seen what provisions are there with respect to APSPA. Then in today's session, we are going to discuss some more topics. We have also seen some questions with respect to Lebanon also. We have seen other topics also. So in today's session, we are going to see certain topics, like one thing is we are going to talk about sickle cell anemia. So sickle cell anemia is one such thing which is continuously there in the news. Now India has got a plan also that we are going to eliminate the sickle cell anemia by 2047. So we will try to understand what is the sickle cell, what is the sickle cell, why it is called as anemia, what are the options of its treatment, and then what new things has happened with respect to this. Then we are going to discuss another topic, stem cell in treatment of diabetes. In treatment of diabetes. So there are some types of diabetes in India, and there is also this stem cell in treatment of diabetes, especially type 1 diabetes. So we are going to discuss about that also. The third thing that we are going to discuss is internal democracy in political parties. So there is a comprehensive article discussing this one, internal democracy in political parties. The main theme that was being discussed in the newspaper, that should there be an intervention by the Election Commission of India. So we will try to understand in that ambit that should there be any such involvement of Election Commission or not. So that is one thing which we are going to discuss in this session. Yeah, I am good. I hope all of you are doing well. How to revise current affairs? Try to make a list of the topics at the end of the day. Like suppose we have 5 classes. From Monday to Friday, we have 5 classes. So make a list of the topics on Saturday. Revise those topics and try to write about them using flowcharts on Sunday. If you do this continuously and if you revise the previous flowcharts, do understand one thing, that at the end of the month, you would have minimum 60 plus topics which you would have easily memorized. Yeah. So do one thing, like suppose if we have got this sickle cell anemia, so revise it. And then like suppose you are revising it time and again, then on Sunday try to make flow chart of it by your own. Don't look back and see what is there in sickle cell. Try to make flow chart of it by your own. And then if you're missing something, add it from notes later on, but try to make the flowchart in your own language, at least for the 15 topics which you have read in the entire week. And then you will be able to memorize it forever. So this is one part which you can do for memorizing any subject or any such topic. Okay. Try to make flowchart. No, not just like, no, see one thing. There is one thing called as reading the lines and just memorizing the lines. There is another thing which is based on understanding of the topic. So don't memorize the lines. Understand the topic and try to write according to it. Don't memorize it, the lines there. Try to understand the topic and try to write in your own words, not the words which is there in PPT or the words which are right there on board. understand the topic and try to write in your own word. Then only you will be able to memorize it. Okay. Clear? Okay. So let's start with this. Let's first see some question. Consider the following statement regarding anemia. It is more common in women in India as compared to men. Second thing is almost two-thirds children under the age of 5 years in India are suffering from anemia. Third is saying sickle cell anemia is caused due to persistence of anemia in children for more than 5 years. So this is one such question. I know that you have not read about it, but you know that anemia is there. And you might have seen about anemia multiple times. Many a times I have also told about anemia in classes. So this is one question. Try to solve this. The question statement first is saying it is more common in women in India as compared to men. Second is saying almost two-thirds children under the age of 5 years in India are suffering from anemia. And third is saying sickle cell anemia is caused due to persistence of anemia in children for more than 5 years. So what would be the answer here? How many statements are correct? 1 and 2. Okay. So yes, I think good evening. I think all of you are able to understand this, that the first option is true here, that women has more percentage of anemia as compared to men. So first statement is true. You can see around 57% of women in India are suffering from anemia, whereas 63%, or you can say that almost two-thirds of them are suffering from, the two-thirds children are suffering from anemia. So second statement is also correct. Now the third statement is sickle cell anemia, the one which we are going to discuss today also. So this sickle cell anemia is not caused due to persistence of anemia. Rather than that, it is a genetic disease, a genetic disorder. Okay. It is a genetic disorder. So this is a genetic disorder. We will discuss about this. It is not due to persistence of anemia. Rather than that, if sickle cell problem is there, it may lead to development of anemia. So this third statement is incorrect. Answer will be B, only 2. Okay. Now there is another question. In the context of recent advances of human reproductive technology, pro-nuclear transfer is used for fertilization of eggs in vitro by donor sperm, genetic modification of a sperm producing cells, development of stem cells into functional embryos, and prevention of mitochondrial disease in offsprings. So what would be the answer here? You might all have heard about one concept, pro-nuclear transfer, or you might have heard about mitochondrial replacement therapy, or you might have heard about three-parent baby. Three-parent baby. So can you tell me what it is related to? Okay, I have taken a name and now we can answer easily, right? Yes, pro-nuclear transfer technology or mitochondrial replacement therapy or three-parent baby, all of them are related with one simple thing, that is about this prevention of mitochondrial disease in offspring. So this option D is correct one. Okay. When there is a defect in mitochondria of the women, then it may be transferred to the future generation. In order to prevent that, there are certain technologies which are called by different names, sometimes called as pro-nuclear transfer, sometimes called as mitochondrial replacement therapy. So yes, this is one such method by which mitochondrial defects or diseases are prevented. Okay. So yes, this option is true. Now, this question is there with reference to stem cells frequently in the news. Which of the following statement is are correct? Stem cell can be derived from mammals only. Stem cells can be used for screening new drugs. Stem cells can be used for medical therapies. So this is a question from 2012 about a stem cell. You all might have read about stem cell. I hope so. I hope that you all have read about stem cell. So can you tell me what is this stem cell? Sorry, about this question, we will come to stem cell also. Okay, two options are B. Anyone else? Okay, if you have not read, don't worry. Today we are going to discuss a stem cell also. We will discuss this stem cell today. Don't worry about it. B option. Only some answers are coming. I think more of you have read the stem cell part. Many of you have read this topic. The first option, of course, you can see that not only mammals, it can be derived from others also. The second and third are correct, that it can be used for screening new drugs. If we want to test new drugs, then of course we can make use of stem cell. At the same time, we can also use it for medical therapies. Stem cell therapy is quite popular nowadays. So this third option is also true, correct. 2 and 3 will be the answer. Okay. But we will see what is a stem cell, what are its application in today's class itself. So we are going to discuss two very important concepts there. One is about sickle cell and second is about stem cell. So we will discuss, and also diabetes, type 1, type 2. Yeah. So see, let's discuss about them one by one. First of all, let us talk about sickle cell. Now you might be aware about one such disease which is called as anemia. Anemia is a disease which is caused due to deficiency of iron. It is caused due to deficiency of iron. Okay. Due to deficiency of iron, there is lesser production of hemoglobin or lesser production of RBC. Lesser production of hemoglobin, or you can simply say RBC also, red blood cells. Now, normally you know that like if we are talking about anemia, anemia is one such problem where we see that due to deficiency of iron, there is lesser production of hemoglobin or RBC, red blood cells. And due to this lesser amount of red blood cells, what is going to happen? That these red blood cells are responsible for providing oxygen to each and every cell. RBC, if we talk about them, RBC, what they do? Provide oxygen. They provide oxygen to cells. Why they provide? To make energy. To make energy. So normally what we see that RBC or the hemoglobin is responsible for, RBC or hemoglobin is responsible for providing the oxygen to the cells. They carry the oxygen from the lungs to the each and every part of our body, to each and every cell. If they are getting the oxygen, they use it for the respiration process and they make energy. So that is one part, that what is this anemia causing? They are leading to lesser amount of RBC or hemoglobin, and due to which energy will be lower. Energy will be lower. Energy will be lower. Yani, what we can see from here is like the growth and development is going to be affected. Growth and development. Growth and development. This is going to be affected. This is going to be down. So normally what we see that if people are suffering from anemia, anemia is caused due to this deficiency of iron. In anemia, what happens? There is lesser red blood cells or hemoglobin. What is the role of RBC? They provide oxygen to cell in order to make energy. So if suppose that if RBC is low, it means lesser energy will be there. And lesser energy means growth and development will be impacted. It will be lower. So that is one simple case, anemia. What we see that in India, almost 57% women of the age of 15 to 49 years, they are suffering from anemia. And in case of children, near about 2/3 children of the age less than 5 years are suffering from anemia. So in case of women also and in case of children also, which we have seen in the first question, that they are suffering from anemia. Now, but this is not sickle cell problem. This is simple anemia. So what exactly is sickle cell? See, in the case of sickle cell, what we see that RBC, it becomes deformed. This RBC becomes deformed. Shape becomes sickle shaped. Sickle shaped means if we have normal RBC, if we are having a normal RBC, what we see that normal RBC is like this. It is like a circular part. It is like a oval. It is like a egg. It is very much soft. It is resilient. It is soft and it can easily bend. Soft and flexible is there. Flexibility is there. So this is circular, soft, flexible, normal RBC. But if we are talking about sickle cell RBC, so the RBC acquires this form. Instead of being oval, it becomes sickle shaped. Sickle which is used to cut the crops and all. So it is acquiring a sickle shaped. Here we are getting oval shaped. Now it is becoming sickle shaped, and it is also like flexibility is less. Flexibility is quite low. It is rigid. Its flexibility is quite low. It is rigid in case of sickle cell. So now what is the challenge there? First we have seen normal RBC looks like round shaped, circular shaped, egg shaped. It is soft, flexible. So see, two cases are there. One is normal case. Here we have the RBC. They can easily pass through these areas. They are our arteries or blood vessels. Okay. They are our blood vessels. So from this, they can easily pass through this area. From this blood vessels, they can easily pass and they can reach to different part of body. But if suppose that there is a person and they have got sickle shaped RBC. So their RBC is like this. So they can get accumulated over here. They will not be able to cross this. They will not be able to cross in this area, or even if they are able to cross, many of them are going to be destroyed. So in sickle cell, the blood flow is obstructed. In this case, what we say that blood flow is obstructed. Now, due to this, what we see that many of the RBC is going to be destroyed. RBC will be in lesser in number and they are also going to be destroyed. So here, overall, what we see that less RBC. What we see that there is lesser RBC. Now, if there is less RBC, can we call that as anemia? If there is a lesser amount of RBC, can we call that as anemia? Yes, RBC dies before 120 days and block blood flow. Sangeeta is saying beginner student. Okay, Sangeeta, I will try to use simple language. Okay. So see, if we are talking about this sickle cell disease, what we see that the cell is getting deformed. It is acquiring the shape of a sickle, and hence it is not able to pass through this blood vessels, and due to which blood flow is going to be obstructed, and hence less RBC will be there, less supply of oxygen. That's why sometimes sickle cell is also called as sickle cell anemia, because in this sickle cell there is lesser amount of blood. There is lesser amount of blood or lesser amount of RBC. So this is one of the reason. This is one of the reason that we have got less number of RBC in case of sickle cell. Now, why this is caused? This is one of the genetic disease. This sickle cell, it is a genetic disorder. It is a genetic disorder. Genetic disorder. So there is a hemoglobin S, HbS. This is responsible. This is a defective protein, defective, or you can say that defective gene responsible for sickle shaped RBC. Sickle shaped RBC. So what we see that this sickle cell, it is not a disease due to deficiency. It is a disease which is caused due to genetic disorder. If genetic change is there, if genetic mutation is there, due to which what we see that there is a defective gene HbS. This HbS gene is responsible for formation of sickle shaped RBC. Sickle shaped RBC. And due to which there is lesser blood flow. And if there is lesser blood flow, what we see that all other things is going to be impacted. The growth and development of body is going to be impacted. So that's why this sickle cell is continuously there in the news. Yeah. Now, what we see that there have been some recent advancement. Like there is one medicine. There is one medicine called as hydroxyurea. There is a medicine called as hydroxyurea. So this is a medicine which has been made in India by a local company, Acom Drugs and Pharma Limited. If we look at this in international market, or even if it is imported from outside, it cost around 77,000 rupees. But in order to treat this sickle cell anemia, we have got a drug, hydroxyurea. So this is now made in India at just rupees 600. This can be made available to patients at just 600. What this is doing, it is boosting the production of this hydroxyurea. It is boosting the production of normal red blood cells. It is boosting the production of normal blood cells. Okay. So from here, you can see that what is the treatment method? So right now we have one treatment method which is hydroxyurea. To boost normal RBC production. At the second hand, on the second part, we can see that there is also one thing called as bone marrow transplantation. See, normally what we see that bone marrow is the one which is responsible for formation of red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and many other things. So if there is a bone marrow transplantation, it becomes a possible option to cure this sickle cell disease. The second option is going for bone marrow transplantation. Third option is gene therapy or gene editing. Or therapy. So in this gene therapy or editing, what can be done? The gene which is responsible for formation of sickle shaped RBC, they can be edited and the genes can be changed to produce normal RBC. So three things are described right now. One is hydroxyurea, which is actually possible, through which the normal RBC production can be boosted. Second thing is the bone marrow transplantation. It can also be done in order to change the production site. Like normally what we see that bone marrow is responsible for production of this RBC. So we can change the bone marrow and then again good type of RBC can be produced. The third thing is gene editing therapy, by which the genes responsible for sickle cell shaped RBC can be changed. Now one question for you. Can you tell me which country in the world has highest numbers of sickle cell anemia? Which country has highest number of patients from highest prevalence of sickle cell anemia? Which country? Which country is having the highest prevalence of sickle cell anemia? Hydroxyurea is something country. Africa is not a country. I'm asking about country. Australia, Africa, India. Anemic patients can be cured by supplying those things which is having rich amount of iron. Iron deficiency can be addressed. Options? No options. Acha, chalo, let me give you an options. Okay. First is India. A option, India. B option, China. C option, Nigeria. D option, Congo. So I'm giving you 4 options: India, China, Nigeria, Congo. So give me the answer now. Congo and Nigeria. So now you are changing from India and China. Earlier you were so much determined about India and China. Now you are changing it. See, this one is number 1, this one is number 2, and this one is number 3. Okay. Nigeria is having the highest number of patients with sickle cell. Second number it is Congo, and third number we have India. So India is having the third largest prevalence of, or third largest patients suffering from sickle cell. So sickle cell is like, one is Nigeria, second is Congo, third option is India. Okay. So these are the countries having higher prevalence of sickle cell anemia. So that is our first topic. Coming to the second one, coming to the second topic, we have another thing, stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapy. Okay. China's position you will have to check. China is not having that much prevalence. You might have to check for its position. In the top 3 we have Nigeria, Congo and India. See, now you have one thing, stem cell therapy. And what is the news all about? If you have seen the Hindu newspaper today, you might have seen there is an article which says that stem cell therapy can be used to cure T1 diabetes. T1 diabetes, that is the main concern, T1 diabetes. So see, in India we have like one diabetes called T1, another is called as T2. One diabetes is there, T1, and another is called as T2. Can you tell me what is the difference between them and which one is more common? Which diabetes is more common, T1 or T2? T1 is common. Anyone else? See, there are two main types of diabetes, although diabetes insipidus is also there. These are called as diabetes mellitus. Okay. So see, if we talk about India, what we see that T2 type of diabetes is more common. It is more common, accounting for nearly 90 to 95%. It accounts for nearly 90 to 95% of diabetes cases in India. Okay. This is mostly observed in adult. Okay. Mostly in adult. Okay. Adult human, you will find that mostly. Although nowadays what we see that even in children also, due to improper food or due to different obesity and other causes, diabetes may develop, but it is mostly there in adult. Now, in case of T2, what we see that there is an imbalance of insulin. Insulin is produced by pancreas. So, pancreas is not able to either produce the insulin or body is not able to utilize it. Okay. So, this is one thing where there is insulin imbalance. Insulin imbalance. That earlier the body was developing insulin. It is not a disease from the beginning. It is a disease which has started after some time, started after some years. Earlier the body was able to maintain the level of sugar in the blood. Earlier the body was able to maintain the level of sugar in the blood, but gradually what we see that there is an insulin imbalance in the body and the body is not able to adjust the level of sugar. That is the most common type 2 or T2 type of diabetes in India. Most common 90 to 95%. Whereas in case of T1, it is something which is present in the body from the beginning, from childhood. From childhood. In this, what is happening that it is an autoimmune type disease. Autoimmune. Okay. So what can happen that either less or no production, less or no production of insulin. Second thing is insulin can be destroyed or insulin is destroyed by body. Insulin is destroyed by body. Okay. So there is two things. In the type 1 disease, in the type 1 disease, what we see that type 1 is something which is coming from almost childhood itself. Okay. So it is an autoimmune type of disease where either there is less or no production of insulin from the beginning, or it may happen that the insulin is getting destroyed by the body itself. That the insulin is destroyed by the body itself, and due to this, what we see that there is an imbalance of sugar in the blood. There is an imbalance of sugar in the blood. That is happening in type 1 and type 2 of diabetes, T1 and T2 of disease, diabetes. Now, if we look at India, what we see that around 8.6 lakh people in India, around 8.6 lakh people in India, they are living with type 1 disease, T1 disease or T1 diabetes. Okay. Whereas in India, almost 90 to 95% people, they have this type 2 diabetes. It is believed that in 2021, over 74 million, and now according to various estimates, more than 100 million people in India, more than 100 million people, more than 100 million people in India, they are suffering from this type 2 diabetes. Okay. It is said that by 2045, the numbers may go as high as 124 million. Now it is believed that it may cross even 150 million. Okay. Earlier in 2021, this was the projection. Now it is believed that it can be further higher. Okay. So this is one part about type 2, about diabetes. In case of states, Goa has the highest prevalence of diabetes. Goa is having the highest prevalence of diabetes, followed by Puducherry and Kerala. These states account for most of the diabetes cases in India. Okay. The state-wise also you can see it is not the northern states where we have higher prevalence. It is the southern states, particularly Goa, then Puducherry and Kerala, having higher prevalence of diabetes in India. So that is first thing, that what is diabetes. That what is type 1, type 2 diabetes. There is also diabetes insipidus, that is related to kidney and water. Okay. But that is not sugar thing. Now, there is one thing called as stem cell. Now let's connect the topic, stem cell. So can you tell me what are stem cells? Why India become diabetes capital? We will talk about it. We will talk about it. Why India has become diabetes capital. It is all about our lifestyle. It is all about the food which we are eating. It is about the lifestyle which we are adopting. Okay. That is one of the factor. There are multiple reasons. The gene disposition is also there, but one of the major reason is lifestyle. Lifestyle, changing food habit. That is one of the main reason. Okay. Tell me one thing. Yeah, fast food. Tell me one thing. What are stem cells? What do you understand by stem cells? What do you understand by stem cells? Can you tell me? Cell without any differentiated function used to generate other cells. Okay. See, normally what we see that in our body, there are two types of cell. In our body, there are two types of cell. One is somatic cell. One is called as somatic cell. Another is called as stem cell. Stem cell. So these somatic cell are called as differentiated cell. They are called as differentiated cell. Differentiated cell means they have a specific function. They have a specific function. They have a specific function. For example, we have just talked about RBC. We have just seen that, like suppose if we are talking about RBC, so what it does, oxygen and carbon dioxide transport. Oxygen and carbon dioxide transport. If you see other cells, for example, if you see, let us say, white blood cells, they provide immunity to the body. So this is one part. We will come back to diabetes again. First we are talking diabetes, then stem cell, and then we will try to connect it. Okay. So just wait a little bit. Okay. If we are talking about somatic cell are differentiated cells having a specific functions. Means they are performing a specific function in the body, like heart cells are there, kidney cells are there, nephron cells which are there. Then we have the nerve cells which are there, blood cells which are there. So they all have a specific function. They perform a specific function. But when we talk about the stem cell, no specific function, no specific function in body. So what they do, what is their role? If there is having no such a specific function, so what is the role of these stem cells? These stem cells can help in production of somatic cell, or you can say that multiple type of somatic cell in times of need. Somatic cells in times of need means they can be used to produce multiple type of somatic cells in time of need. Suppose that if there is a condition, where there is a requirement of huge amount of red blood cells in the body, or suppose that if a person has met with some accident, and let us say their skin cell or their muscle cells are destroyed, now there is a need to make sufficient amount of muscle cells, then stem cells can be activated. They can form muscle cells also, they can form blood cells also, they can form multiple type of cells. There is also classification which you will read in science classes also, but in general what we see that they can produce multiple type of cells. That is their quality. So now this is a stem cell. So what is the discussion all about? The discussion is all about that stem cells can be used to cure the type 1 diabetes in India. It has been talked about that these stem cells can be used to cure type 1 diabetes in India. Okay. So what has been said? That, like, what has been said, 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 that, like, what has been sa what has been said that we can use, we can use, can make use of, can make use of stem cell to stimulate insulin production in the body. Insulin production in body. So what has been said that we can make changes. We can make changes in case of body. We can stimulate some stem cells. We can stimulate some T cells, stimulate some stem cells in order to produce insulin inside the body. We can change some of the stem cells of the body and they can help in insulin production. So how it is going to be done? How we are going to do it? We will do it with the help of gene editing. We will do it with the help of gene editing. Means some of the stem cells will be taken out of the body. Some of the stem cells will be taken out of the body. They will be modified so that they can produce more amount of insulin inside the body. And then they will be inserted back in the body so that they can enhance the production of insulin and the diabetes could be controlled. So that is the idea behind this mixing of stem cell and type 1 diabetes. That we can make use of stem cell to enhance the production of insulin inside the body, because the stem cells have multiple capabilities. Okay. So yes, that is one thing. But then certain challenge has also been provided. Certain challenge has also been highlighted. First such challenge is like this is going to be a invasive process. Means you are going to change. You are going to make change in the body by doing some surgery. You are going to make some amendments in the stem cell of the body by doing some surgery. Any such amendment or any such change has its own risk. There are risks of surgery. If any person has to go for surgery, they are very much like we can say that they are very much fearful. They have a lot of thoughts before going for surgery. So this is also one of the process which requires surgery and hence it carries the risk. Okay, so that is one part. Second thing is, if you are inserting any such new cells inside the body, new cells means modified cells, there is a chance of rejection. So second part is they are prone to rejection. They will be prone to rejection. And suppose you want to stop the rejection. Now you can have immunosuppressant, means medicine which can prevent those rejections. So even if you are making use of medicines to prevent the rejection, there is a harmful impact of the medicine itself that could create infection and cancer. It's long-term suppression of the immune system can cause infection and cancer also. So while we are going for treatment of type 1 diabetes, it may become a cause of cancer itself. Why? We are suppressing the immune system. If the immune system is not active, if the immune system is not working, many new infection or cancer might be caused. So that is the second risk. There is another risk, like there is a technology of encapsulation. Encapsulation technology means the stem cells will be in a capsule. They will be protected. They will not be having contact with other things. So even if they are encapsulated, it means if they are not rejected by the body cells, they have got a capsule around them which is preventing them. Then also it is said that there may be a long-term risk that once it opens up, then there can be sudden reactions in the body. It may also lead to the death of the person. So there are certain risks of this stem cell therapy in case of type 1 diabetes. Okay. But then again, no risk, no gain. Okay. There is a simple thing, no risk, no gain. Type 1 diabetes is a very much serious problem, and especially this is a lifelong problem starting from the childhood itself. So if a stem cell therapy is used for this, maybe in future we can get better, we can get more promising results than the challenges. So of course there are risks, But then there are some promises also. The promise is we can enhance the insulin production. Is that clear? What is this stem cell and type 1 diabetes connection? Is this clear? So do remember about one thing, like see, this is one of the trial part. That's why we have focused less on this last part. We have focused much on type 1 and type 2 diabetes. From there, you can get some question in prelims. Or also, if we talk about the stem cell, from there you can get some question in prelims. So that's why we have focused first on what is type 1, type 2 diabetes. Then we have focused on what is the stem cell. And then we have seen what can be done. Yeah. These are some of the parts of this second topic. Third thing which we have to discuss is internal politics or internal democracy in political parties. Okay. Internal democracy in political parties. Now, give me one thing, give me one answer. Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India is responsible for conducting the elections for what posts? If there are elections in India, suppose there is one point called as Lok Sabha. Okay. There is another thing, let us say President. There is another thing called as Governor. And there is fourth thing, State Legislative Council. So now the options are only 1, only 2, only 3, only 4. So in how many conditions? In how many conditions Election Commission of India is responsible for conducting the elections? In how many of these conditions Election Commission of India is responsible for conducting election? ECI conducts election for the Election Commission of India is conducting elections for how many of them? Only 3. State Legislative Council, is it done by Election Commission of India or State Election Commission? This is not Legislative Assembly. I am asking State Legislative Council. Is it done by Election Commission of India? It is not a State Legislative Assembly. It is State Legislative Council. Is it done by the Election Commission of India or State Election Commission? What will be the answer? Lok Sabha, President, Governor, State Legislative Council. Only one option. See, in case of Lok Sabha election, it is done by ECI, Election Commission of India. In case of President of India, it is again done by Election Commission of India. For Vice President also, it is done by Election Commission of India. Even for a State Legislative Council or a State Legislative Assembly, it is done only by the Election Commission of India. The State Election Commission is responsible for only 2 elections, Panchayati Raj and the municipalities. So State Election Commission conducts election only for 2 things. One is Panchayati Raj and another is the municipalities. Okay. So yes, only for local self-government they are responsible. For President also, for Lok Sabha also, for State Legislative Council also, we have this Election Commission of India. So do not get confused there. Yes, of course, Governor is appointed by President. There is no election. Okay. So do not change answer in confusion. Do not change answer in confusion. It is going to be Election Commission of India only. Okay. So answer here will be only 3. Only 3. Okay. Now see, what is the context here? What is the context here? Okay. The context is there has been some discussion. There has been some discussion that should this election commission of India be also conducting elections for the political parties. Okay. You might have seen that multiple political parties, especially the national political parties or even some regional political parties, they are conducting their elections for the appointment of their chairman and everything. Okay. So there is a concept called as intra-party democracy. Means within a political party there is also election. Within a political party also there is election for choosing their representative or for choosing their leader for various posts, for like party president. So that is a concept called as intra-party or internal democracy in political parties. So now there is a discussion that should it be done by the Election Commission of India? Should it be done by the Election Commission of India? Now you know that the Election Commission is the registering authority for all the political parties in our country. Okay. Whether they are regional parties or they are national parties, that classical languages have, okay, I have not covered that. I will cover that tomorrow about the classical language. Yes, I have seen that topic last night. I has planned to add it, but I could not add it today. Tomorrow or in the next session, I will definitely add it. Don't worry, I will add it. Okay. So see, Election Commission is the registering authority for all the political parties in our country. It is responsible for registering all of them. Then they are also there. This EC, this Election Commission, they are also monitoring if they are functioning according to their constitution, bylaws, etc. or not. That are they adhering to the rules or not? Are they adhering with the rules or not? That is also something which is being monitored by the Election Commission. So now what is the thing? But it cannot deregister a political party based on violation of these things. Suppose that if a party has got its own rules and condition, if a party has got its own constitution, means for rules within the political party, if they have got their own, let us say their own constitution. Constitution here means that how the political party will run, not the Constitution of India. If they have got their own laws or bylaws or their rules and regulations, so if there is a violation of the rules and regulation by the party itself, their own rules, if that is violated, let us say there is a X party, it has got its own rules and regulations, but if they are violating it, if they are violating this, in that case Election Commission cannot deregister them, that why you have violated your own rules and regulation. Okay. At the same time, like Election Commission can deregister only and only if there has been obtaining of registration on the basis of fraud or other things. Okay. Suppose if they have got registered, they have got their registration of political parties by committing some fraud or doing some frauds related to income and all other things or expenses, then on that basis it can be deregistered. Okay. Otherwise, or suppose it is banned, then it can be deregistered. But cannot have this deregistration if they have not got periodic elections. Means internal democracy of political party is right now not being supervised or monitored by the Election Commission. They are registering them, they are also monitoring their rules and regulations, but even if there is a violation, the Election Commission cannot do anything with respect to it. So now there is a question. The question is, should the Election Commission of India regulate, or should this Election Commission of India be also responsible for internal democracy within the party? Should ACI be involved in this or not? So what do you think? Okay. What do you think about this? Why it is being demanded that there should be monitoring of internal democracy within the parties? Why there is a need? First thing is, why there is a need of this? why it is being said that election commission should go for this monitoring of internal democracy within the parties. Why it is being demanded? Anyone? You all have been seeing the politics of the country. So tell me, why it is being demanded? Because nepotism, corruption, okay? Nepotism, corruption is there, okay? Anything else? Yeah. Yes, one of the major thing is there is a nepotism. There is a nepotism in the political parties. There is a nepotism in the political parties, and many a times, due to the centralization of powers, there is also a chance of corruption. There is, of course, centralization of power. Centralization of power in a few hands. In a few hands. In a few hands. At the same time, what we also see that it also leads to the issues of corruption. It also leads to the issues of corruption in political parties. It also leads to issue of corruption in political parties. Okay. Now, these are the things which you all know. Now, we know that the political parties, if we talk about the political parties are not individual things. If we talk about political parties, and especially if we are talking about the national level parties or even the state level parties, they are not a private entity. They are not a private entity. They are of a public nature. Okay. These are not a private entity. Not a private entity. Rather, it has got public, it has got this public orientation. Okay, it has got this public orientation. Means political parties are not a company of anyone. Political party is not a company of any person. If anyone is making a state level party or if there is a national level party, that is not the property of one person. It is not a company. It has got this public orientation, public nature. Means people can become part of it. So they have got a public orientation. They are not a private entity. They are a public property or public agencies. And if there is a public agency, then there should not be discrimination within it. There should not be inequality within it. There should be opportunity for everyone within it. So that's why, since it has got this public orientation, or public nature is there. So due to this factor, there must be issues of equality. There must be issues of equality of opportunity for all, justice for all. Nothing like having just one thing or one person in control of the party. So that's why it has been said that if election commission monitors the internal elections of the political parties, it may be good for the political parties also, it may be good for the people also. So that is one part why it should be done. Now the question is why it should not be done. Fallouts. What if ECI involves? Right now what we see that the structure and composition. What we see that it is being controlled, or you can say that appointed by party in power. Appointed by party in power. Of course, there is a role of leader of opposition also, but you know that it has to be done by 2-1 majority, and 2 people are from government. So virtually it is appointment by one single party. So right now what we see that The Election Commission of India is being appointed by one political party, no matter what political party is there in the government. Today, one party can be there, tomorrow, another party can be there, after that, some new party may be there. But the thing is, if we talk about the system says that it is appointed by the government or the political party which is there in power. So now, other parties will allege involvement by the government, or other parties, other political parties, other parties will allege interference, will allege interference by government. Okay. Now, this is something which is going to damage the reputation of Election Commission of India. Okay. See, despite various allegations, despite various fallouts, what we have seen that the Election Commission of India and the election process in India has been regarded as one of the most fair and transparent and credible elections, not just in India, across the world. The Election Commission of India has got a very good reputation across the world for conducting free, fair, and credible elections. You might have seen people in India, the political parties, or even the candidates, they have lost sometimes just by a few votes, and still they have accepted it. So there is a credibility of Election Commission of India, and involving the Election Commission of India in internal democracy of the political parties may challenge that, or may lead to like decreasing of that credibility. The political parties and the leaders, especially the opposition, may see it as an interference by the government. So that is also one of the cause why the Election Commission of India should not be involved. That is one. Second thing is, India is a country with so many political parties. We have got hundreds of large political parties. We are not even talking about the smaller one. The number goes in thousands. But even if we talk about main parties, the number is quite high. And the logistical challenges for Election Commission of India will be quite much higher. Okay. So logistical challenges. It will be one of the major factors. It will be one of the major factors for Election Commission of India. So these two main challenges are there. That's why it has been said that Election Commission of India should not be involved in the internal democracy of political parties. Now I have a task for all of you. So what can be done? Now the simple task is, what can be done? What can be done for ensuring internal democracy? What can be done for ensuring internal democracy in political parties? So think about this. Think about this question. What can be done to ensure the internal democracy in political parties? Okay. Think about this aspect over the weekend and give me the answer in the comment box also, that what could be done in order to ensure this internal democracy in political parties. Okay. So that will be all for today. We have discussed three important things. One is the sickle cell disease, second is stem cell therapy and type 1 diabetes, and the third is internal democracy in political parties. Okay. How to revise polity? Every time we get new things. In all the subjects you will get new things. Okay. Try to link it with your static syllabus. There you will get the option. There you will be able to memorize it quite easily. Fine. Okay, so enjoy the weekend. Let's meet on Monday again. Yes, for Adyan batch, Sachin, you will be informed. We didn't have session last day, but you will be informed soon about this, that when we are conducting that session, and then we will meet there. Okay. So thank you so much. Take care and all the best. Thank you.